if Jason was standing up in front of you, like, if you guys all just walked out, you know, we got rain hit us, everybody got gut punched. And we normally would be walking up into the Cleveland clubhouse is upstairs, the visiting clubhouse. So we walk down out of the dugout, and there's this little space, and then there's a little old dingy weight room right there. And Jason's outside as everybody starts coming out of the dugout, and he's like, players in here. Coaches upstairs, players only. So we're all like, well, we got so much respect for this guy, and he's big. And also, so he's like, all right, we're listening to him in this moment. And also, the amount of emotional intelligence it took for him to not only regulate what he was going through as an individual player. If you knew anything about that series, he had a lot of challenges around his own production in that moment, and he was kind of being demoted in the middle of the World Series, which was a rough experience. And the ability to look past his own experience and say, this is what the team is feeling right now, and somebody needs to do something about that, and then to be the guy that has the guts to call that meeting and lead that meeting. I mean, he will forever be like the best teammate. Whenever somebody says, who's the best teammate you've ever had? Jason Heyward. Because it really is true. So the ability to put himself away for the sake of the team in that moment was next to, second to none. And so he basically gets up in front of everybody. We're all quiet. We sit down like you guys, and he stands up in front of everybody. And he goes, guys, listen. Door shut. Actually, I'll tell you this before. The door shut, and the last person through the door was 6'6" Cuban Superman, Aroldis Chapman. Tears. Literally had tears coming down his eyes because he felt like he let everybody down. But he had also gutted through a tough ninth inning after giving it up in the eighth inning, if you remember that. Like we needed him in the ninth just as much as we needed him in the eighth, and he had to hold the line there, or else we would have lost right there in the bottom of the ninth. But he held the line, and he still comes in and he's tearing up because he realizes, it's really hitting him, right? So it's a moment for a team that you just don't experience and expect.
So what does he say?
I was getting to that. So he goes, everything that everybody outside of this room is thinking right now, you can take what the front office is thinking, what the players or what the coaches are thinking, what the fans are thinking, what the other team is thinking, what everybody around the world that's watching this on TV right now. He said, the only thing that matters right now is what we believe in this room. It's the only thing that matters. He said, because all year long, we're in this situation right now. He said it's 0-0. And all year long, we've had each other's backs between the lines. And he's like, that's what we're gonna do.
Was it quiet? Were people cheering? Were people crying? What were the emotions?
There was no cheering. It wasn't like a hooping and hollering, yeah, let's go. No, it was, we took our time. I think I just shut this off. We took our, after he got done saying what he said, there was other guys said a few other things,
So
right?
who else spoke?
Dexter, I did not. Dexter
Fowler?
Rossi, I want to say Lester. I can't remember everybody.
Everybody who homered the game.
Yeah, basically. I don't remember exactly everybody that spoke, but I do know it was kind of like, it ended up being a full discussion for about 15 minutes, right? And here's the incredible thing about this is when we were done with the meeting, when we were done talking amongst each other, and I always reference Jason because of how much guts it took to start that conversation. And then everybody, and that was a team conversation, but the thing that hit me is that as soon as we were done, it was like there was a knock at the door. And so we normally during rain delay would go up into the clubhouse, everybody would be looking at their phone, looking at the weather, trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm sure that's what the Indians did, right? They probably went up, and nobody did anything but just had a team meeting in that moment. And it was the perfect timing. So where they were knocking on the door and say, hey, they're pulling the tarp, you get ready to go. So I'm sure there was guys in the room that then went up to the clubhouse and grabbed something or whatever, came back down. But those of us that were playing in the game, I never went up there.
Okay, so now we get to the 10th inning. You hit a double. You drive in the lead run. It's now 7-6. What are you thinking when you're on second base? Thinking it's the 7th game of the World Series. It's 10th inning. I'm on second base. The Cubs are leading because of my double. I could be MVP, I could win them.
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about all those things, and don't get picked off. You know, you're kind of doing this out there at second, like, and that's probably why I didn't get a great jump on the next hit right after me.
But you're realizing, oh my God, I've had 10 hits in the World Series, I'm 10 for 28, 357.
I didn't know all that.
That I could be an MVP. Does it go through your mind?
It definitely went through my mind in that moment. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But I also was like, this game is not over. It's far from over, right? You know, especially with what had happened earlier. So we're like, okay, we needed that extra run after that, and then we gave up a run in the bottom half of that inning, right, before we closed it out. And gosh, the amount of relief. If you guys saw me jumping from left field, like the simultaneously, you know, feeling that relief at the same time as like a kid. I was just like a kid in that moment again.
Was it relief or exuberance or both?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can't, as a player in any sport, no matter what I've won before, there was something different about the Chicago Cubs World Series. It was the penultimate championship to win as an athlete at that time, in my opinion. I mean, 108 years, this fan base, this city, this field, like all the things that go into the Cubs lore we knew it all. The only moment, I really didn't think about the GOAT at all the entire season. I didn't. I was like, it's just a thing, you know, people like to talk about. When Rajay Davis hit that home run off of Aroldis, and I was playing left field, and I'm running and watching that ball, and I'm like, go foul, go foul, go foul. And that like sneaks in the foul pole and hits the camera and does one of these, and I'm like, that's when I looked up and I was like, this might be real. I really thought this is a real thing. And at that point, the prayers really came out.
I saw you on TV last night, and I had talked to Andy Blackburn yesterday, so I knew you were going to be here. But up until I saw you on TV last night, I had no idea you were back with the Cubs. So have you been back for a year, for 2 years,
for a year? Last year I came back. They invited me to come back the prior year before that, and I had some other things that I wanted to work through and figure out. And so last year, I just said, all right, I'm in. I don't know what you guys want me to do. I said, I would love to come connect with fans and do whatever you guys want me to do around the ballpark. I said, but I really would love to still stay in touch with what's going on at the top of the game, like with the players. Plus, some of the players that are still playing were teammates of mine. You know, like Nico was a teammate, Happer was a teammate. Last year, Kyle Hendricks was still a teammate. Right, so I still...
He's not playing center field for the
Javi
center field.
Javi never ceases to surprise us all, does he?
So how many times have you told that story? First of all, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
How many, do you tell it all the time? Or is
I do a fair bit of speaking. I've been speaking quite a bit when I'm in my off time. And so I do share it quite a bit when people ask that question. But I don't give them the full story usually. I don't usually have time for that. So I don't know. Is there something else you want to know about?
Let's go way back.
Okay.
You grew up in Eureka, Illinois, which for those of you who are familiar is where Ronald Reagan went to school. You get thought about like, how many major colleges?
0.
So how do you go from 0 colleges? I knew the answer, by the way, it's a trick question. How do you go from 0 colleges to this career to MVP, World Series 3 times, champion twice, working for the Cubs? How in God's name? You weren't even scouted. I mean, you weren't scouted anywhere.
Well, I think probably God is the first reason. You know, I mean, I just feel like there was a pathway for me. My part in that was, I really believe, was development and growth mindset. Like, I always wanted to get better. It didn't matter what I was doing, right? So there was people that were put in my pathway that gave me opportunities. One being the head baseball coach at Olivet Nazarene University, which is down in Kankakee, Bourbonnais. They were the ones that gave me the opportunity to play baseball in college. And that was the first time I actually focused on one sport, right? I had done multiple sports in high school. I was a versatile athlete, but never focused on baseball until then. So that was the thing that really, that was where I was like, if there's a couple guys in NAIA getting drafted, why couldn't I get drafted? You know, I thought it's a possibility. So that's where I really took it into the next gear as far as like, my Friday and Saturday nights were not hanging out and going to parties. It was Tammy the Tanner tee was my girlfriend, you know, and we used to hit a lot of baseballs off that tee.
So do you have a role model? Like, I want my career to be after so-and-so, and so who was that person? If you met him and spoken to him and shared with him that he was your role model?
There's been several. Yeah, I had a junior high coach that was very important in my story, Coach Craig Gertis from Eureka. My high school coach was the one, Bob Gold, who was the one who actually said, I think you're a college player, at least. He said, I think you should go to this scout day. I had to pay $50 of my own money to go to this scout day, and where Elliot found me. Elliot was a big part of that. Elliot Johnson was a big part of seeing something in me. Actually, you know what he signed me up to do? Signed me up to do to play college ball. It was not to play shortstop or second base or anything. It was a pitcher. He saw me pitch in this scout day, and he's like, I think he's serviceable as a college pitcher. So and then I got to college, and that's when I was like, I want to hit, and I was working on hitting a lot and doing that on my own, you know. So I kind of made myself into the type of player that I really wanted to be.
But you were the proverbial utility player. Did you play every position, or was it a position you did not play?
Well, at that time, I was pitching and playing shortstop, or pitching and playing second base. So it was either a middle infielder or a pitcher. But it was when I got to Tampa Bay, and Joe Madden was a huge part of my story as well, who was obviously our manager here. When I was a young player in Tampa Bay, I'll never forget my first call-up. I was young, I was trying to figure it out at the major league level. Like, it's very difficult. This is the biggest jump is between AAA and the big leagues for every player. And I was kind of really struggling the first few weeks. And Joe, we were in a West Coast swing, we're out in Oakland, and Joe comes out to me while I'm doing BP and doing my work, pregame work, and he goes, Zo. He's like, I just want you to relax. You know, Joe, if you remember Joe as a manager, he's so chill, right? He's like trying to keep everything chill, take pressure off. And so I just kind of rolled my eyes a little bit like, yeah, you're telling me, like, this is the major leagues, this is my opportunity, and I'm supposed to relax. But he's like, just relax. He's like, I promise you, I'm gonna make a guarantee to you, I promise you, you will play in this league for at least 10 years.
That's a hell of a promise.
And I was like, at the time, I'm like, this guy's crazy. I don't want to say that to my manager. I'm like, I don't think I can make it the next 2 weeks. And you guys are gonna set me out before I get to the next 2 weeks. And he saw something in me, right? Like, this is where people in your story that make a big difference for you, they're seeing something in you that you don't even see for yourself necessarily.
So were you a natural switch hitter, or did you have to work at it?
I worked at it, yeah. I was not, in high school was the first time I tried switch hitting as a senior in high school. And then in college, I put it away for 2 years, and then I tried it again my junior year. And I kind of just showed up at summer ball. They didn't know I was not a switch hitter. I was like, yeah, I'm a switch hitter. So I just went with it and got hits, and they never questioned it, so.
Well, I've asked my main question, some other questions. Might ask, share your questions to others in the room. Any questions for Ben? Gonna go way back here.